Hello, everybody. I'm Hilton Samuel, and I help couples to go from conflict to connection, breaking the cycle of toxic conflict and building deep, long lasting connection. Today, I want to talk to you briefly about how do you maintain a long lasting relationship? And more specifically, how do you train your partner to respond to you in a wonderful way? And look at that word, a training, because that's exactly what we do. Even if we don't consciously think that we're doing it, we literally train people how to respond and react to us. So let's take a couple, Karen and Kim. They implemented something that I normally teach, really to try to preempt, prevention is better than, and try to front load how you deal with conflicts. And if it's possible, to avoid conflict. So one of the ways you can do this is to simply, when you're in your calm, cool, well-controlled, healthy self, to have a discussion about what you might be doing that is bothering the person, your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your fiance, that you are not aware of. Sometimes people can get cheesed off, they can get ticked off, they can get irritated, and in their heads they self-edit. They think, oh, maybe this, I'm too picky, maybe this is not worth bringing up. But deep back in the subconscious mind, it is a little, it's a minor irritation. And if many of these minor irritation accumulate, guess what? It becomes a major issue when something triggers, like the straw that breaks the camel back. So usually you should really sit down when you're calm, when you're collected, when you're in your healthy self and your mind is operating with good sense. And you ask the questions, or ask each other questions such as, what did I do this week that made you up? Is there anything that I need? Ask for forgiveness. Is there anything, any ways in which you need me to improve? What is it that may be annoying you that you haven't said? And you create what we call a safe space for the person to air his grievances or his low level irritation. Now, Kim and Karen tried this. In fact, Karen led with that. And Kim said to Karen, well, look, I don't like it when I do things or you ask me to do things like clean the bathroom or clean up the kitchen, and then you come behind me and then redo the very thing that I did. It's annoying. Obviously, that didn't land very well with Karen. And guess what? They had a major argument about this. So, lesson to be learned. When you open the conversation to get feedback, you may not get the feedback that you're looking for. In fact, you may even get negative feedback. And some people take it as criticism. I think of another couple that asks a similar question. and the response was, I don't like it when you micromanage me, when you keep telling me to do things and preempt me. I don't feel nice about that. And again, it wasn't taken nicely. But here is the problem. Here is the problem. When you open the discussion, you must make it safe. Even though you may not agree with, or it trigger you, or it may come over like criticism. Manage your emotions and don't make you spiral and get dysregulated. Because if you do that, guess what's going to happen? The person will not be able to be open and upfront with you another time. They may edit what you ask them for to tell you what you want to hear. And that's not what you want. You want the honest to goodness truth so that both of you can grow. It's a process. So when you respond negatively, when you shut down or even shut off or even go silent, the person could feel the change in the vibes. the change in energy. Even if you're saying, oh, don't worry, they can sense that something is off. And again, it's setting you up or setting the situation up for them not to be as truthful next time. So how do we navigate? You simply be honest. You know, I wasn't really expecting that, but let's try and see how best we can go forward. How would you want me to deal with it if I think that the bathroom isn't cleaned as well as I would prefer to? Would you like us to do it together so that it's a cooperative venture and we're both satisfied about it? Or would you prefer to do one part and maybe the other part? Or would you prefer that I say nothing at all about it, even though I may think that a couple little spots? How do you want me to give you feedback in that? And hence, you can open the discussion and you can get to learn how the person wants you to deal with that particular situation. And that becomes what I would call a win-win. You don't want to win-lose, because when someone wins and the other person loses, everybody loses. So you want a win-win outcome. But giving feedback, you also want to be careful so that you don't come across as being critical. You don't come across as being critical. And how do you do that? You want to frame your response with what you would like. You don't want to speak out of frustration. You want to speak out of need. So in the case of the bathroom, you might want to say, well, look, I would actually prefer that if I do some cleaning and you're not happy with it, that you may make suggestions as to how I can improve it. Or I would much prefer that we do it together and we have fun doing it, rather than saying, I don't like. Say what you would prefer and what you would like, and hence that may go over a lot better than when you come from the negative. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on my walk, and those thoughts just simply percolated in my mind, and I wanted to share them with you. So be good, be positive, be nice to each other. And if you are in a situation where there is constant conflict and fighting, you've tried everything and nothing seems to work, and you want some support, link me up. The link is in the description. Talk soon. Bye.